Today I have my Schmidt Rubin. This is the 9611. So this was a conversion of the 96 rifles, which previously had been a conversion of the 1889. So it's an 1889, 96, and then the 96. So this is a conversion to the format of the 1911s. And there's some differences, yet there's a lot of similarities in this. So I'm gonna go over this and I'll disassemble it, show you everything. A few things. They grafted on a pistol grip. This is different down here because of the magwell from the 89s or the stuff 96s. I have matching serial numbers here. There looks like a serial number here, but doesn't match that. Though the matching serial number here and the matching serial number on the bolt. This has the backwards B with a P, which the proof testing got the little crosses, the shooting proof testing. This has an N on it, which looking up things could possibly mean SIG. This has the oval with the little T with an M, which is Inspector Muhlmann, M-U-H-L-E-M-A-N-N. So I think it's Muhlmann. So this has a serial number here, serial number here, serial number here. These are all matching. So I'm going to give you a closer look. I'll talk about it as I'm showing you, then we'll disassemble it and give you a closer look at everything. And here's the close-up of the 9611. I'll turn this over so you can see the other side. The original 1889 was developed by Rudolf Schmidt, and it was using a straight pole bolt mechanism and was chambered in the Edward Rubin's caliber that he had developed, thus the Schmidt Rubin. The 1889 rifle, though it had a weakness with the Schmidt bolt system because of its length and having its locking lugs at the rear of the bolt sleeve, and this became apparent when they were upgrading their ammo and when trying to increase the velocity. And Colonel Schmidt was asked to change the lugs to the front of the bolt sleeve for the rifle, and he said it was not possible nor feasible, and he refused to change it. So Colonel Vogelsang and his assistant Rebholz worked it out, and the Vogelsang locking lugs are moved forward, and this placed less stress on the bolt sleeve, and thus it was able to withstand the higher pressures. And these became the 89 96s. With the adoption of the GP11 ammo, they built the M1911 rifles and carabiners. Because of the bolt changes in the 1896 from Vogelsong. It was found that it could withstand the GP11 pressures, and in January of 1911, a decree was issued to convert the 1896 rifles, or some might have called them the Vogelsong Rubins, to the M1911 patterns. And this did not start until 1913. They did retain their original serial numbers of the 1896s, and a few of the differences are the 9611 has a rounded buttstock plate versus the flat plate on the 1911. The 1896s did not have a pistol grip, so one was grafted on, whereas the M1911 was made with one. And there are cutouts on the bottom of the receiver for the older magazines, and the M1911s do not have these. A slightly different shape of the trigger guard. The overall length of this 9611 is 51.2 inches, and it's the same as the 1889s. And it uses a 6-round magazine versus the 12 rounds. The sights are different, and this has a 4-groove barrel versus the 3-groove from previously. This can use the GP11 ammo instead of the GP90, and it weighs almost 10 pounds. So we'll take a closer look. I'll disassemble it, show you everything. On the bottom is the 9611, on the top is the 1911. So there's the rounded butt plate on the 9611 versus the flat on the 1911. This has the integral pistol grip, whereas this one has been grafted on. They mentioned about the difference shape of the trigger guard. I don't know. This one has a little dent on there, but that's real hard for me to say if there is or isn't. Going up here, let me flip this over this way and flip this one over. This same through there, but when you pull this one out, because this one was configured to the 1889, that's going to be different inside there, whereas this was made as one. So here's a serial number there. It's non-matching for my bolt, receiver, and barrel. There's that backwards B with the P, the oval for the inspector, again the backwards B and the P, B there, flip this up, there's that N. We have the proof markings, my understanding is there, yet they also use those on markings other places. There's the P for the privatation. There's a number 5 serial number that ends there, that ends, those 3 match. This here has that brass. On the 1911 it doesn't. Going on up here, we basically have, it's all the same, barrel band, stacking hook, that band. So I'm going to go ahead, disassemble this for you, show you that. and these are hinged. There's this that fits up underneath in there. This will slide completely off over the front sight. That has a little lip that fits underneath the rear sight. I have matching numbers here on the inside of the upper handguard, plus another inspector's mark. It's the shield with the cross inside of it. And when I take apart these, I undo a little bit on each of them before I do it. I don't like putting pressure on one or the other. And I did check earlier, and this does not have a troop tag underneath the butt plate. And this also has a serial number there, which is matching to the rest of the rifle. This is marked SIG on here. This has a B21, and from reading everything, that could mean barrel was new, put on in 1921. This does have a serial number, which is different than this. There's a number here, which is still different, and it's even different than what was here. Like I said, a lot of parts have that cross. This has a marking. I'm not sure what that one is. Here is what helps float your barrel, this little sleeve on here. So I'm going to give you a closer look of everything, then we'll put it back together and go do some shooting. So here it is, SIG for SIG, B21. From my understanding, it means the new barrel was put on in 21. Said this has different places, the little stampings on them. There's a number 67 there. On this side it has that stamping. Turn it around this way. Kind of looks like a backwards R and P, again with the little stamping on it. And there's that sleeve, has a stamping. And when you put this back together, make sure your stock and upper handguard, fit where it should be. Especially on the carabiners, there's more room for it to slide back and forth. There's the hinge. And this has the matching serial number. Wait, I'm sorry. Yep. It does. 336067. It has that stamping there. That looks like a circle. Like, it's hard to tell, like a U. There's a stamping, and I believe that's another inspector's mark. That, I don't know what that is. This is the bolt. They've moved it up to the front of the sleeve versus when it was at the back. A small stamping again. Stamping. Matching numbers, stamping. Turn this around. I'll have to look up what that WC, what looks like a small O, stylized D, possibly a 6.6, not sure about that. There's a 3 in there. And the bolt knob, pretty good, does have that crack there. And down there, yet it's still usable. So I'm going to put this back together and then we'll go out and do some shooting. I'm out here with the M9611. So the 96 were updated and had some conversions to the M91 pattern, which was grafting on the pistol grip and a few other things. So we're going to take 5 shots down at the target, and we'll go look at that after I do that. And I'm using the PPU Full Metal Jacket boat tail. It's the 174 grain. That was the last one, so we'll go down and check the target. And this is what I have on my target. 1, 2, 3, and that looks like a double hole 4 and 5.